Alrighty, so it's that time again where we take a look ahead at a bunch of Steam games that are coming down the pike, and May's got a lot going on, from revived swashbuckling adventures to double and AAA heavy hitters. As always, this isn't a complete list of everything that's coming out in May, but rather just a selection of titles that I thought looked particularly interesting, and while Steam Deck performance is a mostly unknown quantity, a lot of these games do have demos available that you can play right now, so I would definitely suggest you do that if you're kind of on the fence about any of these because you're wondering how it'll perform on deck, including this first game that's dropping on May 6th, Captain Blood. So, by title alone, I wasn't sure what to expect here, but as it turns out, Captain Blood is a pirate-themed action game where you'll be stepping into the role of a fearsome pirate seeking glory and riches. It features sea battles, sword fights, and what looks to be some pretty over-the-top nonsense humor, which is something I always appreciate. But what really stood out to me about this title is, after doing some research, it turns out that this game is apparently a title that has been rescued from development hell after having undergone several iterations throughout the 2000s, and was actually last showcased in 2010 before vanishing for years. So this might just be a day one purchase for me, considering it looks super fun from what's shown in the trailer, and I just love seeing games get pulled back from the ether. And again, this does have a demo available right now if you want to get a taste of what Captain Blood has to offer, and I will 200% be doing exactly that. But now let's look to another May 6th release that trades high fantasy swashbuckling for adrenaline-fueled first-person action with Metal Eden. In Metal Eden, you'll be playing as a hyper-unit Asuka, which I think I'm pronouncing correctly, which is an advanced battle android. Powered by a phantom core, you'll dash, grapple, and wall run your way through a vast monolithic city called Mobius as you engage in cybernetic warfare to rescue the consciousness of a human colony, which sounds pretty rad on its face. But beyond the premise and stylish visuals, the combat here is looking very fun, like a fusion between Ghost Runner and Doom Eternal. And just like Captain Blood, there is a demo available that you can check out right now if you want to give it a whirl and see if it'll be worth a full price purchase, again when it drops on May 6th. Next up, on May 8th, we have a game billing itself as a complex, challenging, feature-rich action RPG, and that would be Empyreal. Set in a far-flung corner of the galaxy, an expedition arrives on an unexplored planet to find a colossal monolith built by a lost civilization. And this game was put together by a fairly small team, but it looks very promising. You'll have 3 weapon archetypes, including the glaive, the mason shield, or the cannon, and it features the sort of combat rhythm you'd expect, with dodges, deflects, and parries being the order of the day. It also features a fairly deep character creator, and while it's a single-player game, it does have some asynchronous multiplayer components that will let you feel the presence of other players along the journey, sort of similar to what you would see in something like Death Stranding, or naturally just about any FromSoft title. And just like Metal Eden and Captain Blood, this one has a demo available too, if you want to hop in and start exploring the Monolith right now. Next up, let's get a little spooky with The Midnight Walk, which is the latest dark adventure from the same minds who brought us what I now know is the excellent Lost in Random. In The Midnight Walk, you'll befriend a lost lantern creature and light your way through a world of wonder and terror, all while taking in a Tim Burton-ish landscape. And the whole thing is handcrafted with real clay and animated using stop motion, which looks absolutely incredible from the trailer footage so far. Also, it will feature a VR mode if you're into that kind of thing, but based on what I've seen so far, I'm expecting this will be kind of puzzle platformy like a 3D version of Little Nightmares, likely interspersed with the occasional boss fight, but it's kind of hard to tell just from the one trailer I've seen so far. But however they choose to balance these mechanics, it does look to be a visual feast in its own right, so I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on this, particularly whenever we get closer to Halloween, because yes, I'm already thinking about it. Next up, if you're looking to step more firmly into the role of hunter rather than the hunted, we have the Precinct releasing on May 13th. Set in Averno City, 1983, gangs rule the streets, and your father lies restless in his grave. And it's your job as Officer Nick Cordell Jr. to clean up the city, uncover the truth, and embark on a range of thrilling vehicle chases in this neon-noir action sandbox police game. Described as a love letter to classic cop movies, beyond chases you'll also get engaged in top-down shootouts with the seedy gangs ruling the city, and engage in simulation elements to make nuanced decisions about the lawbreakers you're tracking down. And I'm absolutely intrigued by this, mostly because to me it sort of feels like a remix of the top-down GTA experience, albeit from the other side of the law, and with an emphasis on tactical thinking rather than just the raw action. But if you want to see for yourself just how well it balances this blend of action and strategy in advance of its May 13th release date, this too has a demo available right now on Steam. And speaking of top-down action, albeit during the Edo period of Japan, we have Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade releasing on May 14th. Yasha is an action RPG infused with fantasy elements and roguelite mechanics that is overflowing with Japanese ambiance. Humans and demons share an uneasy peace until the sovereign of all demons, the nine-tailed fox, rallies demonkind to sow chaos across the mortal realm. And in turn, you'll have to contend with this threat as one of 3 protagonists, with differing stories, be it an immortal ninja, an Oni emissary, or a demon samurai, each with their own exclusive weapons so you can mix up your strategy as you see fit. And at first I was curious if this was related to Muramasa the Demon Blade, but as it turns out, no, this is not related to that game, rather it just shares a similarly colorful art style and, well, demon blades. But if you're already sold on what you've seen so far and want to dive straight into this enchanting world of Japanese fantasy, feel free to help yourself to the demo, which also is available right now. And if you want to go a little further back into the Dark Ages, Doom definitely has you covered, with Doom the Dark Ages also releasing on the 14th and is probably going to be the biggest release of the month. Serving as a prequel to Doom 2016, The Dark Ages promises an epic cinematic story of the Doomslayer's rage in a sinister medieval war against Hell. Although in sharp contrast to the faster-paced, more aerial-focused action of Eternal, the central theme of this iteration is to stand and fight, where you'll still be mowing down waves of Hell's minions, but in a lot of sequences you'll also stand defiantly against massive foes, while leaning on your shield saw to mitigate that damage or just to rev up and slice through a ton of demonic cannon fodder on the battlefield. And this just might be my most anticipated game for the month of May, because these games are always insanely good and usually extremely well optimized. So while there's no demo and I can't say for certain that this is going to play well on the Steam Deck, I have a sneaking suspicion that it will, but we'll have to wait to see for sure on the 14th. Oh, and Doom the Dark Ages is coming to Game Pass day 1, so even if it doesn't run well on the Steam Deck, you can probably stream it well enough if you're an Ultimate subscriber. But now let's ease off the demonic ultraviolence just for a moment and chill out with the polar opposite of Doom the Dark Ages, with Level 5's Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, dropping on May 21st. And if you recall, this series first got its start on the 3DS way back in 2014, and it looks to continue that same slow life RPG experience, within which you'll switch between 14 unique jobs called lives, and live in a carefree fantasy world to fish, cook, and shape the island to your liking. Although you will also get to battle monsters in this world, it's clearly a much lighter weight, cutesier take on the genre. And personally, I never had the original, but I was always curious to try it out, having enjoyed similar games like Rune Factory, or I guess you could even make an argument for Stardew Valley. But if you're in the mood for something a little slower and more easygoing, Fantasy Life might be worth a look, again when it drops on May 21st. Alright, and next up, one more demonic entry because I couldn't not feature this as a remastered retro throwback, and that would be Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny Remastered, hitting Steam on May 23rd. Originally released way back in 2002 on the PlayStation 2, this is the second installment in the Onimusha series, and has a new protagonist, Jubei, who is on a revenge mission against Nobunaga Oda's demon army. Updated with HD graphics and improved controls, it also has a Hell mode difficulty and, mercifully, an autosave feature and easier weapon switching. And while I am pumped to play this one, I can't do it just yet because I still do need to finish, or I guess refinish, the original Onimusha Warlords remaster from 2019. Although I might wait on this one as well a little bit closer to Halloween, since it is as much a horror as an action game, and takes more than a few cues from Resident Evil, which, as a Capcom release, probably isn't that surprising. But nonetheless, I just love seeing Capcom classics get continually updated like this, and while there's no demo for this one sadly, I'm pretty confident this one's going to play just fine on the Steam Deck, again when it drops on the 23rd. Alright, actually, even though I love Doom, this final entry might be more anticipated for me now that I'm getting to the end of this script and remembering what I had here, but on May 29th we're getting the Elden Ring spin-off, Elden Ring Nightreign. And here's the thing, I know this is a 3-player co-op multiplayer focused entry that's set in the world of Elden Ring that leans into a more time-restricted mechanic with more defined character classes. Although I don't know a lot beyond that because I refused to play the beta without my buddy Kyle earlier this year, but I will say that I'm inherently excited for this as a FromSoft title because they do almost no wrong in my eyes, and this is just one of those rare gaming experiences where I absolutely welcome a game's unyielding brutality. I'm hoping it's more than just Elden Ring Fortnite Edition, but I'll find out for myself whenever I squad up with my friends to start speedrunning through a range of perilous bosses on launch day, again on May 29th. Alrighty, and that's it for this one, and again, I think Doom and Nightreign are probably my top picks for May. And I know I didn't cover everything here because there were a few glaring omissions like Lost Soul Aside, which does look like a pretty fun action RPG that's also dropping in May. But hey, what about you? Are there any particular games that you are pumped to check out next month, or think that I should have included on this list? If so, please let me know in the comments below. Coming up on the channel, I'll be doing that second screen gaming pairings video next Wednesday, and beyond that, probably start ramping up on some emulation content, since I've been dabbling in so much 3DS stuff lately, so stay tuned for that. As always, thank you so much for your time and hanging out here with me on the channel, as it's very much appreciated. Take care, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.